Taiwan, medical experts and government officials are locked in a heated debate over the so-called Alvin virus, an infection strikingly similar to influenza. Despite warnings, the government has refused to take large-scale action to contain it, and many citizens doubt the virus even exists. But some virologists warn Alvin could mutate and unleash a far more dangerous outbreak. Young couple Jim and Kat ride their moped past a bloody crime scene on the way to the train station. After dropping Kat off, Jim stops at a nearby cafe and walks straight into chaos. A blood-soaked old woman with pitch-black eyes and a twisted grin attacks without warning, spitting thick mucus on one man, scalding an employee with boiling oil, and slashing another's face. Seconds later, the man she spat on snaps, stabbing his own brother. Jim sprints into the street, the deranged woman in pursuit, until she's hit by a car driven by another infected. But there's no safety outside. The streets are crawling with the infected, and Jim is forced to run for his life, desperate to make it back to his apartment. Jim gets away and quickly messages Kat to stay put, and he's coming for her. But before he can take another step, an infected neighbor lunges, snapping garden shears around his hand and slicing off 2 fingers. Gasping in pain, Jim wrenches himself free and hastily wraps the wound in cloth before making his escape. Meanwhile, inside Kat's train carriage, a middle-aged businessman confessed his fascination with her. At first, she remained polite, but when he crossed the line and touched her, her patience snapped. Moments later, one of the passengers began to cry, one of the symptoms of being infected. He suddenly attacked anyone within reach, turning the carriage into a bloodbath. Some passengers managed to stop him, but more people soon became infected, plunging the train into chaos. Without warning, the businessman drives his umbrella into a young girl's eye, her scream echoing through the train. Another passenger rushes forward, struggling to hold him back. Kat sits frozen, trembling, her breath quick and shallow. Then his head turns. Their eyes meet, cold, unblinking. And in that instant, Kat knows. She's his next target. As the infected passengers turn on everyone around them, beating and killing without mercy, Kat escapes the train alongside Molly, the woman stabbed in the eye but still clinging to life. Their relief is short-lived. The crazed businessman gives chase through the station, now wielding an axe. When a muscular man steps in to protect them, the businessman buries the blade in him, cutting him down without hesitation. Kat and Molly barely make it out of the station as an employee named Kevin slams the entrance shut behind them. Gasping for breath, they race through the streets until they reach the nearest hospital, where, to their relief, a handful of survivors have gathered. But the safe haven doesn't last. The infected break in, slaughtering everyone inside. Kat has no choice but to run, her heart pounding as she leaves the others behind, knowing she can't save them. Meanwhile, Jim flees to the outskirts of town, passing horrifying scenes of cruelty and violence along the way. Desperate, he manages to contact Kat, who tells him where she's hiding. But as they speak, Jim breaks down in tears and begins to hallucinate. In his delirium, he sees a discarded mannequin head lapping up his blood and sweat, a chilling sign that the infection has already taken hold of him. The businessman finds Molly, and in a twisted frenzy, he violates her through the wound in her eye. The businessman hunts Kat through the hospital corridors, relentless, unstoppable. But Kat turns the tables, ambushing him and crushing his head with a fire extinguisher. Before the other infected can close in, she's pulled to safety by Alan Wong, a doctor hiding in the maternity ward. Alan reveals the horrifying truth about the Alvin virus. In its mutated form, it rewires the brain, fusing desire with violence. The infected cry because they know exactly what they're doing, but they can't stop themselves. Like the reflex to blink, the madness is unstoppable. Kat stumbles upon a horrifying sight, an infected baby stuffed inside a medical waste bin. Before she can react, Alan grabs her and suddenly injects the virus, desperate to test her immunity. With chilling calm, he admits he did the same to the abandoned babies in the ward. Every one of them turned, and he had to put them down. Then, staring coldly at Kat, Alan tells her, if she becomes infected, he'll kill her. But if she doesn't, her survival could be the key to ending the outbreak. Minutes pass, but Kat shows no symptoms. Convinced she's immune, Alan releases her and calls for a military helicopter to evacuate them. He warns that without him, the soldiers won't save her. As they make their way to the roof, two infected attack. Alan manages to kill them, but not before suffering a wound himself. Kat and Alan race toward the hospital rooftop, but before they can reach it, Jim appears, already consumed by the infection. A violent struggle erupts. In the end, Jim kills the newly turned Alan, who, with a twisted smile and his dying breath, raves that he enjoyed disposing of the babies. Kat grabs Alan's keys and locks Jim outside the stairwell. Through the door, he whispers that the infection feels wonderful, describing the twisted things he wants to do to her. In that moment, Kat understands. The man she loved is gone, and what surrounds her now is hell on earth. In the empty hospital hallway, Kat begins to laugh hysterically, her voice echoing through the silence. Maybe it's the last crack of a broken mind, or maybe she was never immune at all, and the infection has finally claimed her. Kat flees up the stairwell and bursts through the door to the rooftop. As it slams shut behind her, the sound of gunfire echoes. Jim, mortally wounded, slumps against the stairwell gate and dies with a twisted grin on his face. If you loved this recap, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss out on more free movie recaps. Got a movie in mind that you want us to break down? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.